All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be starting on proofs today. This is block 4. All right. We have a good list and a bad list for congruent triangles. Next week. All right, you need to know these down cold. I will tell you that on the next test, you absolutely have to know these two lists and know what they are. Okay, do we remember how to find which, if a triangle is one or another? You know, if it's angle, side, angle, or side, angle, side, we know how to, find the knowns and the unknowns and make that connection, right? We've done that before. Okay, that's one thing we're going to have to remember how to do today. Now, what a geometry explaining to somebody triangle congruent. Okay, your reasons, you're listing your statements, you're putting information on the same page so that somebody could walk up, look at your proof, and say, oh, that's why they're congruent. Okay? All the information is written in one place, and it explains how you know that these triangles are really congruent. Okay? Proofs are the basis of all mathematics. If you are trying to explain something, you have to give me reasons. You can't just say, oh, yeah, those are equal. Doesn't work. Got to have a reason, and you have to build up your evidence. It's kind of like going to court. All right? If you are a lawyer and you're in court and you're trying to prove to somebody that he's guilty, you can't walk up to the judge and say, hey, judge, look, see this guy? He's guilty. This is what guilty people look like. You ever see a guilty guy? He looks just like him. And he looks like that, so he's guilty. Let's send him to jail. Right? Doesn't work that way. In fact, what you have to do is you have to say, hey, judge, here's my evidence. He was found at the scene of the crime. We have DNA evidence. We have fingerprints. We have all of this evidence that says this is the guy. Okay? So, what we're going to do, and you've actually done some of this, but you didn't really know you were. And even if you did, you didn't write it all down. We're not doing anything new. But what we're doing is what we've always done. We're just writing it all in one place. Okay? Building our ideas in a way. Okay. Okay. Let's start off. And what do I call them? Okay. Okay. You have a picture. You have some information that is given to you free. All right? That information is important. You're going to use it. If you don't use it, seriously think about it and make sure that you really don't need to. Okay? Sometimes you have extra information, but not often. No. What does that symbol mean? Hmm? This symbol he's asking me about. What does that symbol mean? We know that symbol. What does it mean? We have a symbol for congruent, and that's not it. Say it if you know it. Perpendicular. Okay? That symbol looks like two things meeting and making a right angle because that's what it means. Okay? A lot of times the symbols look like what they're trying to explain. All right. So, before you, just like a lawyer, before you go in front of the jury or the judge, you have to convince yourself that they really are congruent. Oh, I needed to say this. I forgot a piece. All right. So, they start off looking like this. You have a picture, you have some information, you have something you're being asked to do. Hey, your job is to prove that those two triangles are congruent. That's what you're supposed to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to write down all of our evidence on the left-hand side. And we're going to say how we know that, that those things are true things on the right. Okay? So before we begin, let's convince ourselves that they really are congruent. So let's start marking up this picture, putting all of the symbols on it that we need. For example, what symbols can I add to this picture? Somebody from here, table 1. Look at the given statements and decide what symbols we can put on that diagram. What can we mark? Any congruent symbols? Any other symbols at all? Well, first of all, what does this mean? What is? Read it. Say it to me. Ralph, what does that say? What does that mean? What does that mean? They make a 90 degree. All right. So I can add a little square on it. Right. And that means if I have one of them, can I add another one on the other side? So we're adding tick marks on the picture before we go anywhere. What else can I add? What does that tell you? What is? That's what it says. S is the midpoint of TR, but what does it mean? What does that tell you? Right. But what can I mark on my diagram? Okay, TS and SR are the same because that's what the midpoint means. That's the definition of a midpoint. What else can I mark? Were you saying something? What were you saying, Narcisse? Oh, short memory, because it was right. What else? Is there anything else I can mark on my diagram? I don't have any information on any of it. This one. Why? What's the name of that rule that allows me to do that? Close. You're very close. You got this right idea on the word. What does that rule mean? Ladies? Hmm?
Oh, the reflexive property.
Reflexive property. Okay. So, what we just did, but we said it out loud, was the proof for the most part. We said that those angles were right angles because that's what perpendicular means. That's the definition of perpendicular. And then we added the little tick marks here and here, here and there. Whoops, wrong one. There. Because that's what the definition of midpoint was. And you guys decided that you could put this tick mark because of the reflexive property, right? Now, how can I prove these are congruent? Which of these would I use? Right. Side, angle, side. So that's what I'm going to use at the end. Now, if you're going to use side, angle, side, I need to have a statement here that talks about a side, another statement that talks about an angle, and another statement that talks about the other side. I got to have all the parts of the case. All of the evidence has to be there, has to be spelled out in front of me. Okay? So, let's begin. The best place to begin a proof is to start by saying all of the things that you know for free. All of the given statements. Because even though they're written down here already, even though they're already here, they aren't part of my proof. You see, this is a train of thought. I know this, I know this, I know this, I know this, and therefore, he's guilty. Okay? That's how we build a proof. All right? And at the very, very end, we're going to say triangle TSP is congruent to triangle RSP by side, angle, side. That's the end of it, saying, hey, he's guilty. All right? Okay. So let's start by writing down the given statements again. I know that PS and TR are perpendicular. I know that's true because it was free. It was given to me in the beginning of the problem. That's how I know. I also know that S is the midpoint of TR. I know that because it was given. Okay. Good. Now, I need 3 statements, at least 3 statements. One of them talking about a side, one of them talking about an angle, and one of them talking about a side. If I'm going to use side, angle, side. All right? So, what congruence statement can I use? We're talking about these tick marks, these red marks that we put up on the picture. Let's turn them into sentences. How could I say these, how could I describe these tick marks? What could I say? Okay. How do you know that? How did we come up with that? We marked it there because we thought of something, but what's the reason for it? Point was given, but that led us to believe that we could put a tick mark, because isn't that what the midpoint is, right? That's what midpoints do. Midpoints are in the middle, and both sides are equal to each, or congruent to each other. So this is the definition of a midpoint. All right. What else do we know? Let's get somebody else. I want to get some other people in on this. Taylor, what else do we know? That they're both right angles. How do you know that? You're right. I just want to know how you know. Because we marked it for a reason. Do you remember what the reason was? We were talking about it. We just didn't write it. Now we just got to write it. Help her out. Huh? The symbol. Yeah, but what made us think that we could put that symbol there? You know, let's go back in our memories. Let's like, wait a minute. I can put a box there, right? Rob, didn't you say that? How did you do that? How did you decide to put that tick mark there? And isn't that what perpendicular means? It's the definition of perpendicular. Actually. So let's turn it into a sentence about angle congruent to angle. Or better yet, let's do this. And we knew that those were right angles because that's what perpendicular means. All right, but that just says that. What do we know about right angles? What do we know about right angles? All of them? All right, I mean, are there right angles that aren't 90 degrees? No, they all have 90 degrees, right? And since congruent means that all their measurements are the same, can we say something about right angles? Yeah, what can we say? All of them. Every right angle is congruent to every right angle, right? Okay, so let's put that down. Because remember, we need a statement about a side, and guess what? Here's one of them. We need a statement about an angle, which we're going to write down in a minute, and then we need one more statement on a side. We need a side, an angle, and a side. So, T is congruent to PSR because all right angles are congruent. Okay? These reasons we're going to use over and over and over again. So you might want to try to begin to remember these. And we'll make a list of all of the statements and reasons that we can think of. Okay? We might not have time today, but we will make a list once we've done more. Okay. So there's my side. Here's my angle. I still need one more side. What is the other side that's congruent to the other side? What marking can I talk about now?
Didn't you talk about PS?
You can talk about PS. PT, I don't have any information about right now. Not yet. But I do know something about PS.
Yes.
PS is congruent to what?
So
Itself. And what's the rule that allows me to do that? The, say it again? Reflexive property. And I did it again. Oops. Now, we've got our side, our angle, and our side. All three parts. Now I can use side, angle, side. Okay? If you're missing a piece, then you haven't proven it. Okay? So, now we can write down what we've been asked to prove. And all we have to do is just write it. And we're done. And the reason why we know is because of side, angle, side. And we're done. Yes. You need to give me the train of thought that you went through to that proves that they really are the same. All of the steps, because you actually do this in your head. You say, "Hey, I can put a tick mark here. I can put a tick mark there." Okay? Because you've learned things about triangles and other shapes, right? Now all you have to do is write it down. And that's it. Okay? It's not as bad as it sounds. Let's do another one. Carry the pass. Green one right there by the green box. Copy this down, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, the best place to begin is look at the given statements. Start marking your picture. Decide what angles are congruent, what sides are congruent. Convince yourself. What can we mark? Alex, what can we mark? Those are for free. Good. Let's do that. Give me something else, somebody. What does that mean? XZ bisects WXY. Cuts it in half, right? So what can I mark? Okay, so you're going a step ahead of me. That's good. You're right. I can do this. But what does this sentence mean? Then tell me. What can I get from that? Z maybe not. I don't know anything about this. I don't know about any of those. I don't know about that. But we're talking that this right here cuts that in half. What can I mark? Well, give me the names. Because you're standing all the way over there and I don't know. WXY, that's this one. What angles am I talking about here? Which ones? Give me the names. Three letters. Of course. An angle has three letters. No. I need the name of the angle. Three letters. Give me the names of the angles I'm talking about. Thank you. You need three letters. Taylor, say it again for me. WXZ. This one, right? That angle. And what? Oh, actually, I marked that wrong. That's better. And what else? Give me the name of the other. YXZ. These two. Believe it or not, they have a name. They're called daughter angles. Believe it or not. Yeah, no one knows that term, but it's really what they're called. If you take an angle and you cut them into two separate angles that you bisect it, they're called daughter angles. It's an obscure term. Nobody knows it anymore. Yeah, but I read math for fun. Yeah, whatever. All right. So, what thing on that list? Which one on this list am I going to use? Luciano, what am I going to use? Go around the triangle and tell me. Wait, you gave me too many letters there. Angle, side. She saved your life. Right? Angle, side. Or side, angle. They're both the same. It doesn't matter. Okay? All right. So what is the first thing I'm going to write? What do I write down first? The given stuff, the free things. Put the free is good. Let's use it. Okay, we're moving along. So every place that we put a tick mark, we need a statement for. We've already done the Y and the W. Okay, so we've got the first pair. Give me something else. Just a second. Somebody give me, how do I know this? No, wait. Angle is 3 letters. Thank you. I need 3 letters. First statement. Good. For an angle. Angle, W, X, Z. What about it? Is congruent to what, you sure? Say that again. I don't think I heard you properly. Right. Okay. How do you know? You decided that that was true, and I agreed. But how did you come to that decision? Not yet. And isn't that what angle bisectors do? That's the definition of an angle bisector. Does that make sense? At the end there? Hmm? We put the mark there. These definitions, ladies and gentlemen, the definitions and all of these reasons are things that you eventually will collect all of them. You will know them all. Okay? You already do know them. You just don't know that that's the name for it. Okay? It will come. Yes, it will. It will come whether you like it or not. You will learn, even if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. Yes, you will. All right. What else can I mark? What else can I say about this? About these? What is congruent to what? I need that side now. Right. XZ is congruent to XC. Excellent. How do you know that? How did you decide that? Because that was really good. How did you decide that? Yeah, absolutely. It was telepathy. Right. How did he know that? You read his mind. How did he know? The reflexive property. Very good. Okay. When you have two triangles touching, the shared side is congruent to itself. Okay. We have all of our parts. Look, I need an angle, and a side. Am I done? Why not? W and Y were given to me. They were for free. Well, do I have all of my parts? Then can I wrap this thing up? So what do I say at the bottom? And that's the reason. All right, so good. Now, Nigel, say it out loud to me. And how do you know that? What's the reason that those two triangles are congruent? Thank you. And that's all we have to do. Oops. See, that one was quick. That only had 4 lines on it. Sometimes there's more. Sometimes proofs can be much bigger. This one was pretty short. Okay? But all we really had to do was list all of our information, list our reasons, and then wrap it up. Okay? So, now I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to give you all of the parts. You're going to have to decide where they go. Okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, copy this down. All right. Now, I'm going to write down, I want you to copy this, and I want you to not write in red. Okay? Just look at it. Okay. Okay, we'll do that. Mm-mm. What else am I missing? Okay. Each one of these is going to be used sometimes more than once. Okay? Your job is to arrange them in the right places. So, try on your own to figure out which pieces go where. All of it's there. I'll tell you, like I said, some are used more than once. All right, so yeah, now I think we've got it all. Good. So, the steps. First thing you do is you go to your picture and you decide what's congruent from what. How many times have I talked about food? Outside. Take it outside. All right. Now, that one, I gave you all of the parts, and you had to move around. Now you're going to decide what goes in which piece. Try this. Oh, wrong one. Okay, start copying this. Oops, wrong line. Okay. All right. So before we start, let's first mark up the picture with all of the symbols that we can come up with. Oh, OB is perpendicular. Yeah, small mistake there. Thank you. 1 second. OB and OX. Sorry. Typo. Thank you. Good catch. XR is perpendicular to RB. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you some of the answers, and you have to decide what you have to write in there. Bless you. Ladies and gentlemen, you should be writing this down. All right. In each one of those lines, each one of those spaces, you have to fill in the missing information.